Welcome to Math Today. I hope that music is nice and calming for you. Today we are doing lesson 2.5, estimating with two-digit divisors, and we are going to be using compatible numbers to estimate our quotients today. The observation deck of the Willis Tower in Chicago, Illinois is 1,353 feet above the ground. Elevators lift visitors to that level in 60 seconds. About how many feet do the elevators travel per second? So we are going to be estimating because right here it says about how many feet. Not exactly how many feet, but just about how many feet do the elevators travel per second. So we're estimating 1,353 divided by 60. And to do that, we are going to use two sets of compatible numbers. And that will give us two different estimates. The first estimate I'm going to do is, remember, I'm trying to make this easy. So I want something to go with 60, because 60 is pretty nice to use. And I'm going to change my 1,353 to 1,200. My second estimate, again, I'm keeping my 60 the same. I'm going to change my 1,353 this time to 1,800. Okay, the reason why I'm doing that is that my basic facts right here, 12 will divide nicely with 6, and 18 will divide nicely with 6. So that's why I'm choosing those particular numbers. Okay, now to solve that, we can use the patterns and basic facts to help us. So for 1,200 divided by 60, I'm going to start with the basic fact of 12 divided by 6, which is 2. I'm going to go up to the next place value. So 120 divided by 60, that is still 2. Okay, now 60, I'm going to leave because my original number was 60. I'm not going to go higher than that. But I do need to go one more place value over with 1,200. And then as I divide that by 60, that quotient is going to be 20. Okay, let's do the same thing for 1,800 divided by 60. I'm going to start with my basic fact of 18 divided by 6, and that is 3. I'm going to go up a place value, well, that's an 8. 180 divided by 60. That quotient is still 3 because I've gone up one place value on both of the divisor and the dividend. And then for my last one, I'm only going up one place value in my dividend. So that means that I need to go up one place value there in my quotient as well. So my answer then would be about how many feet the elevators travel per second, between 20 and 30 feet. So somewhere between 20 and 30 feet per second. Now, unfortunately, one of my friends just moved to Chicago, but fortunately, I can go visit her. So I am working on saving money, and I've saved $650 so far to spend during my 18-day trip to Chicago next summer. I don't want to run out of money before the trip's over, so I'm planning to spend about the same amount each day. So I need to estimate how much that is actually going to be. You know, with money, sometimes you need to be exact. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes things come up and you end up spending more one day. So for right now, I just want to estimate how much I can spend per day. So I'm going to use my compatible numbers. 650 divided by 18. Well, 18 is really close to 20. So I'm going to use that for my divisor. And then 650 would work nicely if I change that to 600. And that would leave me with an estimate of $30 per day. I'm going to do another estimate. 600 is beneath how much money I have. So I'm going to do, leave that estimate at 600, kind of an underestimate, and then I'm going to make also an overestimate. So I'm going to say 800 divided by 20, and that would allow me to spend $40 a day. So I can spend between 20 and 30, sorry, just kidding. I can spend between $30 and $40 per day. Now, the question is, given this situation, dealing with money, and seeing as how I don't really want to run out of money for my last day, what if I'm doing something really fun my last day and I don't have any money to do it with? So given that situation with my money, which estimate do you think is the better one for me to follow? Go ahead and pause here, explain your reasoning. If you need to write down any expressions or solve anything, that would be great. If you just want to write it out and explain it. We will be talking about that in class next time. So write it here, and then that will be part of our discussion in class. Let's practice a little bit. First problem, we have 415 divided by 52. 415, that's pretty close there to 400. And that would work nicely if I rounded my 52 down to 50. And that would give me an estimate of 8. I could also pretty nicely round up my 415 to 450 and divide that by 50 also, and that would give me 9. Notice that I'm looking right here to get nice numbers to work with. This is when it is really handy to know your multiplication facts and to be very familiar with those. Know them off the top of your head. So I want these to be easy. I don't want to have to figure out a whole new problem. These should be ones that I know just off the top of my head. Okay, let's look at the next one. This next one, $2,764 divided by 38. If I change my 38 to 40, that's really close. If I look right here at 27, well, I know 28 would divide nicely with 4. So I'm going to change my 2,764 to 2,800. And that would give me an estimate of $70. In this case, it's money. I can also maybe not make as big a change to my money and say $2,700, but make a bigger change to that divisor and say 2,700 divided by 30. And that would give me an estimate of $90. Now, one way that you can check to make sure that you have enough zeros, sometimes that's a little bit tricky. I always think about it as the multiplication problem after the fact, so I kind of go backwards. So, for example, on this one, I'm a little bit better at knowing these multiplication rules, which would mean that if I'm doing 70 times 40, I can take my 7 times 4 and get 28, and then include my zeros on my product. So that can be one way that you can check to make sure that you have enough zeros. Sometimes that's a little bit tricky. If you look up above on 400 divided by 50, I am doing 8 times 50. So just that related multiplication problem. 8 times 5 is 40, and then I have one more 0. So that can be a good way to check. Even if you don't write that down, you just kind of run that problem backwards through your head. That can be really helpful and help you avoid making some easy mistakes. Okay, it's time for you to practice. Notice on these practices, you're still using compatible numbers. You just need to find one estimate on these. And yes, I know we're using easy numbers, but if you would please show your work, that would be lovely. Remember, I'm not a mind reader, so jot it down. Even though you're probably doing it in your head, still jot down what you're doing. Okay, go ahead and pause. I'll be here when you are ready to come back and check. Okay, on these problems, I'm going to give you a couple of options that you could have done. You could do something else, but remember, we're using easy to use numbers. So if I have something that you don't, we can for sure check it in class. On this first one, you might have done 600 divided by 30, which in this case we're dealing with money, so that would be $20. You might also have put 600 divided by 20, which would give you $30. Remember, you just need one of those. Those are just some ideas. Again, if you have something that you want to check in person in class, we can totally do that. On this next one, you might have done 800 divided by 40, which would be 20. You might have also done this, 700 divided by 35. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's not easy. But if you're thinking about math facts, not too hard to do 35 doubled is 70. So that might be another option that you might choose to do. Okay, please take a moment, check your understanding, and write something down for class tomorrow.